Etymology and historical origin of the baby name Charlie. The name Charlie developed in England as a pet form of the names Charles. In more modern times, Charlie was also used colloquially for little girls named Caroline, Charlotte, Charlene, etc., which are female equivalents of Charles. Today Charlie has morphed into a gender-neutral, independently given name for both boys and girls. Charles, and thus Charlie, is ultimately derived from the German masculine Karl, derived from the Germanic word Karl meaning free man. In medieval times, the term Karl referred to a free man, but not one of the nobility, which is ironic given the number of royal and noble people named Charles throughout Europe for centuries. The name owes most of its popularity in Europe from medieval times thanks to the Frankish leader and the first Holy Roman Emperor Charlemagne, also known as Charles the Great. The name Charles was particularly popular among the Franks, one of the many Germanic tribes and the precursors to the French people. By the 15th century, upper-class people of England began to adopt the name, and Mary Queen of Scots, having been influenced by her French upbringing, named her first son Charles James. He would eventually become King James VI of Scotland and then King James I of England, uniting Scotland, England, and Ireland under one monarchy. Both his son and grandson, King Charles I and II, reigned as king after him. As an independently given name, rather than merely a nickname, Charlie has been in use since at least the 19th century, and today it's quite popular throughout the English-speaking world and beyond. There's no doubt Charlie is preferred for baby boys over baby girls, but everyone would agree it's gender-free. Charlie is ranked number 5 in England for boys, and occasionally used on girls. Australians use Charlie freely for either sex, but it's enormously popular for baby boys down under. For boys, Charlie is a top 20 favorite in Ireland and Scotland and a top 10 in Northern Ireland and Sweden of all places. Charming, casual and colloquial, Charlie is a downright darling name. And, unlike other pet forms of more traditional names, this one ages nicely into adulthood. Personality of the girl named Charlie. The number 11 is a master number, and embodies heightened traits of the two. This personality is on a life journey to find spiritual truth. They are extremely idealistic and intuitive. 11s have a rare and exceptional spiritual energy that brings a sense of obligation to illuminate the world around them. It's a very powerful responsibility, but these people have far more potential than they know. It's important that they surrender to higher ideals. They have the capacity to see the bigger picture, and they possess the skills to inspire others spiritually. 11s have strong diplomatic skills and can become great peacemakers. Master numbers can be both a blessing and a curse, as they walk the fine line between greatness and the potential for self-destruction. Popularity of the girl named Charlie. Coming soon. Quick facts on Charlie. Gender, girl. Origin, English. Number of syllables, 2. Ranking popularity, 240. Pronunciation, Charlie. Simple meaning, free man. Characteristics of Charlie. Highly intuitive, uplifting, truth seeker, extremely bright, spiritual teacher, inspirational. Cultural references to the baby name, Charlie. Literary characters of the baby name Charlie. Charlie Bucket is the young protagonist of Roald Dahl's 1964 children's classic, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and was played by the enchanting Peter Ostrom in the 1971 film version. Charlie is a poor young boy in England who is one of only 5 children to win a ticket to tour the famous chocolate factory of the very eccentric Willy Wonka. Charlie is a perfect child, kind and respectful without being smarmy. Although poor, he is rich in spirit and deals with his lot in life with dignity. Beside himself with joy when he finds the winning ticket, he embarks upon his journey, along with Grandpa Joe, full of anticipation and excitement. His fellow sojourners, Augustus, Veruca, Violet and Mike are not so nice, and come to not so nice ends as a result. At journey's end, Charlie is richly rewarded, and we cheer for him with all our hearts. Lucy is the delightfully crabby, bossy pants little 8-year-old created by Charles Schulz in his comic strip Peanuts. She terrorizes her brothers and friends, plays bad baseball, runs a 5-cent psychiatric booth, and harbors an unrequited love for Schroeder the musician. Whether she is thwarting Charlie Brown from his kickoffs, dodging Snoopy's sloppy kisses, or hiding her brother Linus' security blanket, she is always amusing and entertaining, if somewhat scary in a bad seed kind of way. Nonetheless, Lucy has her soft side also, albeit seldom seen. She has been known to burst into tears at a perceived slight. She has actually complimented Charlie Brown on occasion. She has selflessly rescued her brother Linus from the Great Pumpkin Patch, and she has actually hugged Snoopy, famously declaring that happiness is a warm puppy. Augustus Gloop is one of the 5 ticket-winning children in Roald Dahl's 1964 children's classic, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, later adapted into 2 movies, in 1971 and 2005, which affords him a trip to the fabulous candy paradise of Willy Wonka, as well as a lifetime supply of sweets. Alas, poor Augustus is described as an enormously fat child with avaricious eyes set in a dough ball of a head, whose hobby is eating, in which he is encouraged by his indulgent mother. Upon arriving at the chocolate factory, Augustus immediately seals his doom by falling into the chocolate river from which he is greedily attempting to drink. He is then sucked up by one of the sealing pipes that transmit the chocolate to other rooms where it is processed. And he is processed all right. He is squeezed into a thin boy by the pipe, and of course he also loses his chance to inherit the factory. But maybe that is the best thing that could have happened to poor Augustus Gloop. Violet is the gum-chewing little terror who wins a golden ticket to Willy Wonka's factory in Roald Dahl's 1964 book, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, also translated into 2 successful movies. She is one of 5 children to find the tickets in the Wonka chocolate bars, which entitle them to a trip to the factory and a chance to win the grand prize. All of the children are obnoxious in their own delightful ways, which makes the accidents that happen to them all the more fun. Violet's comeuppance occurs when she disobediently tries a 3-course meal, contained within a stick of gum, and swells up like a giant blueberry. Although it has been criticized as depicting children in a negative manner and doling out harsh consequences to their actions, it has always been loved by its primary audience, children themselves. Charlie Brown is the beloved protagonist of the Peanuts comic strip, created by the late Charles M. Schulz in 1950, from an earlier incarnation of 1947, Lil Folks. Today an entertainment empire rests on his small, sturdy shoulders, and insecure little Charlie Brown carries it well. Frozen in time at approximately 8 years old, Charlie Brown, impossible to call him just Charlie, is the unacknowledged star of the show, an unassuming little kid with high hopes that always seem to be dashed, whether by the other kids, example, his nemesis, Lucy, or by fate itself. Charlie Brown always comes back for more, be it the winning pitch, the perfect kite, or the little red-haired girl. As often as not, he is thwarted, but on he trudges, with no more damning an epithet than good grief. Charlie Marlowe is the protagonist of Joseph Conrad's classic novel of African colonialism, The Heart of Darkness, first published in serial form in 1899. The character is inextricably bound up in the persona of Martin Sheen in Francis Ford Coppola's 1979 screen rendition, Apocalypse Now, which adapts the story to the setting of the Vietnam War. Charlie Marlowe is an ivory transporter who has been dispatched to seek out Kurtz, the keeper of the important inner station in the Congo. Charlie is a good man, even-tempered and actually somewhat enlightened for his times. He treats the natives kindly and eventually even sees a commonality in their parallel existences. It is Kurtz who holds the power of fascination for Charlie. Initially viewed as a godlike person, Kurt's own madness gives lie to that characterization. The association with Kurtz and Charlie's attendance at Kurt's death are life-changing events for him. When the dying Kurtz whispers, "The horror! The horror," Charlie takes these words solemnly into his heart. It is a heart that has been changed for good by his experiences, by his journey to the heart of darkness. Popular songs on Charlie. A song by the Hollies, Charlie and Fred. Famous people named Charlie. Charles Charlie Rose, journalist/talk show host, Charles Charlie Daniels, country musician, Carlos Charlie Sheen, actor, Charles Charlie Watts, drummer for the Rolling Stones, Charles Charlie Parker, jazz great, Charles Charlie Hayden, jazz musician, Charles Charlie Chaplin, actor/filmmaker, Charles Charlie Rich, country musician. Historic figures with the name Charlie. Charlie Parker was an extremely innovative jazz musician, both as a saxophonist and as a composer, and was an early creative force in the bebop movement. He played with such greats as Dizzy Gillespie and Miles Davis, who famously said, "You can tell the history of jazz in 4 words, Louis Armstrong." Charlie Parker. Born in Kansas City, Kansas, Charlie Parker always considered New York City his true home. In spite of his music-making genius and his early successes, Alberto suffered the consequences of a lifelong heroin addiction, brought about by the introduction to morphine after a youthful automobile accident. Ultimately, this led to his untimely death at the age of 34. His recordings provide an oasis of bliss for his fans. Many of them were inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. Charlie Parker's life is paid a poignant tribute in Clint Eastwood's 1988 film, Alberto.